Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a new Moltres card. Coming out in the Pokemon trading card game, is coming out in Sun and Moon 7A Thunderclap Spark in Japan. That means it's going to be part of our November set over in the UK, US, Europe, etc. And it's right on time, because Baby Volcanion Haynek is rotating out in September. We're going to need a replacement. You know what? This new Moltres might be doing exactly that. Now, it is a fire Pokemon, and we're getting some new fire tricks. Obviously, we've got stuff like Kiawe to accelerate energy, but we're also getting Flint, whereby you can discard 2 cards from your hand and then go and search your deck for 4 basic fire energy, which is going to be important, as we're going to see. So, you know what? Not too bad, ladies and gentlemen. Not too bad at all. Now, the 120 HP sucks because 1-hit KO by Zoroark and all that jazz. And the retreat cost to 1 is really nice because you can use Escape Board to get a free retreat. So, straight off the bat, we've got an advantage over the old Volcanion. Although, the Volcanion could survive a hit from Zoroark, which was pretty big. Weakness to water is pretty good because there really aren't that many viable water Pokemon around at the moment. I mean, Lapras is looking pretty good, but honestly, it's getting an easy 1-hit KO anyway, so don't worry your pretty little head about it. And Fire's a really nice type because you get type coverage over your metal Pokemon like Duskmane Necrozma, as well as your grass Pokemon like Golisopod. So straight off the bat here, quite a lot to like. Now, the first attack here is by far the best one, and I should remind you that, as is often the case, they have been revealed and translated by the lovely David Hochmann over at Rappelman TCG. And for 1 fire energy, it does 30 damage and allows you to attach a fire energy from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. And if we look at the wording here, it clearly only has 1 fire energy symbol, so it does have to be a fire energy that you accelerate. But you can accelerate this to any Pokemon. It does not need to be a fire Pokemon. So in terms of energy acceleration, is this better than the old Volcanion? Well, kind of. It's different, which I know is a fairly obvious thing to say. You see, Volcanion attached 2 energy to your bench rather than 1. But it did so from the discard pile rather than from your hand. And the question is it going to be easier for you to get that energy into the discard or into your hand? Now, obviously, in something like Expanded, where we've got Battle Compressor, it's easier to get it in the discard. In Standard, you got stuff like Flint, which actually really helps here. And I like the attaching from your hand thing. I like not having to worry about getting the energy into the discard in the first place. Now, to be fair, we have got Zeb Striker coming, whose ability allows you to discard your hand and draw an extra 4 cards, which, quite frankly, is stunning. That's quite nice, that'll help you, but we're losing Professor Sycamore and we don't have Battle Compressor at the moment. Honestly, I think most of the time here I would rather have it attaching from the hand. Plus, let's not forget that you could always use something like Rabombi here, or the Power Oricorio, to search it out. Now, I'm not saying you should, but I am saying that that is an option that you have, or options, I should say. There's more than one of them. But in terms of energy, I think the fact that it accelerates 2 really does mean that Volcanion has the advantage. But the thing is, Moltres does 30 damage, whereas Volcanion only does 20. And this adds up pretty gosh darn quickly. So let's say, for argument's sake, you have a choice band on here, which I think most of the time you may well want to. Then you're doing 60 damage, which is quite nice, to an EX or a GX. With weakness, that then goes up to 120, which is a 2-hit KO on a Decidueye, which Volcanion wouldn't be able to do. Volcanion would be doing 200 with a choice band in 2 hits with weakness. That's enough for Duskmane Necrozma. It's not enough for something like Decidueye. My point here is that 30 damage over 20 could make a big difference. It's not always going to be the be-all and end-all, but there are going to be plenty of times where that extra damage is going to be good. Let's say, for argument's sake, you're up against something like a Beldum, for instance, in a Metagross deck. Well, you'd be doing 60 and getting a one-hit KO if you were using Moltres, but you'd only be doing 40 and not getting a one-hit KO if you were using Volcanion. Said it once, I'll say it again, it makes a difference being able to do 30 rather than 20. So if we compare Moltres and Volcanion as energy accelerating basic fire Pokemon, they both have big pros and cons. Volcanion's got an extra 10 HP, which is great if you're against something like a Zoroark. But Moltres has got one less retreat, and both of these Pokemon are using one energy, so Moltres gets an easy retreat, whereas Volcanion doesn't. Volcanion accelerates more energy, one to each of 2 bench Pokemon, but Moltres only does 1. But then Moltres does extra damage, which can get you KOs. And Volcanion needs the energy in the discard, Moltres needs it in the hand. My point is this. It really is depending on which one you want as to which one is better. I don't think there is a straight answer as to which one is demonstratively better. I'm sure some people are going to sit there and go, Wassy, Volcanion accelerates 2 energy, it's obviously better. But then other people could sit there and go, Moltres gets KOs on 60 HP Pokemon like Beldum and maybe Rowlet, it's obviously better. I don't have a straight answer for you. If you really force me to choose, I would probably say that Volcanion is ever so slightly better because of the extra 10 HP and the 2 energy, but I think it is incredibly close. My point is, in the standard format, it's kind of a moot point because we're losing Volcanion. And Ho-Oh decks are likely to be good in the future. We're still going to have Kiawe. And I told you about the Victini the other day, which I think is a really phenomenally good Pokemon. But you know what? You're gonna need a Pokemon to sit in the active and do a bit of damage and accelerate energy. These decks at the moment, Turtonator would be another example of one that sees a fair amount of play. These Pokemon generally tend to use Volcanion right now. Well, that's fine. But when Volcanion goes away, Moltres will jump in quite nicely here. I really do think there is a lot of potential, and I think most fire decks will play 1 or 2 of these. And I do love the fact that Flint is going to get that energy in your hand more easily, which is going to be quite nice. In terms of the main attack here, I'm less of a fan, but it's kind of useful. Fire, colorless, 90 damage. The bad thing is, if you're hitting for weakness, you're only doing 180, Duskmane Necrozma has 190, Golisopod has 210, with a Choice Band you're all the way up to 240 with weakness, which will get a Decidueye but won't get a Metagross. This attack is often going to not quite be doing enough damage, even with weakness. You'll get some KOs, but you're not always getting the KOs, and that's frustrating. The good news is you can play Counter Gain here if you're behind on prizes. It brings the attack cost down to just 2 fire energy, and then of course Counter Energy could come in quite nicely. So a Counter Gain plus a Counter Energy, as long as you are behind on prizes, will work quite nicely to get this rolling. Honestly, most of the time you'll probably get the energy on them manually. You could use a Kiawe, but it really does seem like a spectacular waste of a Kiawe, given that you could use that to put 4 energy onto a Ho-Oh and be doing 180 and absolutely wrecking. This is another one of those Pokemon where the first attack is good. Single retreat, single energy, damage plus accelerating energy. It's the kind of thing that we've really been using from back in X and Y when Yveltal came out. And these kind of Pokemon have seen a lot of play, which is why I feel comfortable that Moltres will see play. And it's the new Volcanion. It's good for that. And then there is this second attack. And you'll use it occasionally as a non-GX attacker to take a prize. You'll never play this to do 90 for free energy. It's not a particularly relevant attack in and of itself. But if you're using the Pokemon anyway, having this extra attack on there is very nice. I am going to give this, in a move that might seem kind of generous, 4 Wassies. And the reason's very simple. Yveltal saw a lot of play as a Pokemon that did damage and accelerated energy. And now, to be fair, Raikou hasn't, but Raikou's never had a great partner to use it. And Volcanion saw a bunch of play, and this is just a new Volcanion. It is slightly better in some regards, slightly worse in other regards, but Volcanion saw a whole bunch of play as a starting Pokemon in these fire decks. Why would this not? I think it will. But if you think it won't, great news, there's a comment section. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Awasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. New bonus pod went up yesterday. Just saying. And do check out my Dragon Ball Super / video game channel Wasi Plays for some more Wasi action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.